garden school, and we just wanted to say hello. So we'll go around and we will say hello one by one, and everyone will give you their name. Okay, here we go. In China, a chance to say hello too.
Okay.
Quickly go. Doing in each lesson. Oh, go back one slide, back to slide, one more, is talking about what we're going to do in STEAM. The second lesson is sharing your ideas and making your first prototype. The third lesson is making your prototype. Your fourth lesson is improving the prototype. And then the fifth lesson is assessing it. And then finally, the last is about reflecting. Okay, so the next thing is the assessment rubric. And your teachers will be sharing with you the assessment rubric. But basically, all it does is it gives you the criteria to know where your work is. So what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses and what are your areas to improve? Fantastic. Now, if you haven't already, we'll just spend a minute or two getting the STEAM groups organized. So we'll just give this moment for the classroom in China. If you've already got your groups organized, fantastic. If you haven't, we'll just give you a minute or two to get those sorted out now.
Okay.
Fantastic. So if we're already divided into groups, we can continue. Now, one of the most important things when you're working together with other people is to make sure that you are treating each other well. So I just want you to spend a minute or two discussing what are some of the things that make working together in a group successful. So in your group, can you discuss the things that your group needs to do to be successful? And then we'll have our Chinese group share, and then we'll have a New Zealand group share. Okay, so we've had a moment or two to discuss what makes groups work together successfully. So we'd like to call on our Chinese partner school if a group of children from there would like to share with us some of their ideas. Into a very, very good idea to seek consensus where everyone agrees. Wonderful, wonderful idea. Oh, thank you. Wonderful. You can share an idea for how to work together in a group. Successful groups, what do they do?
To make sure everybody's putting in the same amount of work.
Mm-hmm. And then one more?
To all agree to stay on task and not muck around, and let one person do all the work.
Fantastic. Thank you, Wiria. Really much include. And practicing courtesy and respect, giving and receiving feedback, focusing on the work, sharing work fairly, working as a team. And so you guys have covered most of those. Just in two people share, you've covered most of those ideas. So fantastic, because everyone knows how to work. Fantastic. All right. So everyone's had a bit of a chance to talk about why water is so important and why water is life. And one of the key ideas that I kept hearing was that you can live without food, but you can't live without water. That without water, you won't survive for very long. So it says on the next slide, now the children in China can see the slide, but the children in New Zealand can't, so they're just going to have to bear with me. So we'll just have a little bit more conversation. Maybe we'll have 30 seconds for each of these little discussion topics. So the first one is, how is water stored in Auckland, and how is water stored in China? How is water stored? So 30 seconds to talk about it among yourselves. Okay, next discussion topic. What would happen if there was a natural disaster? What would happen to our water supply? Talk about it. Ready? Yep, that's right, Tommy. The dirt would get into it. Yes. Alrighty. So the water would be contaminated, and you all know from the Christchurch earthquake that the water became contaminated, and they had to get it cleaned up. Can you think of any places in the world where water supply is an issue, where they have trouble with water supply? Talk about it. And finally, how do poor communities cope when there's a crisis of water? If the water becomes unclean, what do poor communities have to do? Talk about it. And he really, really wants to see, so he's decided to stand next to me.
Screen.
Alrighty. So do we have, okay, so introduce yourself and answer the 4 questions. All right, so I just need to move myself away so she can see.
All right.
There she is. All right. How is water stored in, all right, how's water stored in Auckland? Oh, okay, and we have a reservoir. All right, a reservoir.
And we have freshwater rivers and reservoirs, and some parts of New Zealand also have dams.
All right, and what if there's a natural disaster?
If there is a natural disaster, the water will get all contaminated and we won't be able to drink it unless we filter it.
All right, so translate. Okay, and can you think of any places in the world where water supply is a problem?
There's water supply issues in like very poor countries like Africa, Kenya, and all the waters have like Syria and stuff.
And how do poor communities cope?
They have to sometimes just drink it and they don't filter it, but sometimes if they have a filter, they filter and then drink.
And they have to?
And they have to boil the water
To make it safe.
to make it safe.
That in this, because we're going to be a bit short on time, we'll leave the video to watch for the classrooms to watch on their own, and we'll go on to the next slide. So the next is setting the scenario, and the idea is this. It has rained for 2 weeks. It's rained relentlessly. We know that in Auckland, don't we? It's rained relentlessly. The rivers and streams have overflowed and contaminated the water supply, so the water is not safe to drink. It will take 5 days to bring fresh water to the people, for the government to get water supplies in. But you can only survive for 3 days without fresh water. So you need to purify the dirty water so that you can drink it. So in an emergency, how could you purify the water so that you could indeed drink it? Now, fantastic. Okay, so the next slide. So, what you already have activated charcoal from the fish tank filter. So in front of you on the tables, you all have a little bit of activated charcoal. You also have clear plastic bottles. But we are going to need to make up the rest. So here's what we're going to do. Here's what we will do. I have taken some water. Here it is. Water. See the water? It's perfectly clean water straight out of the tap, but that's not what the point is. Yeah, but it's a lot cleaner than it was. But you're right, Weary. After that, you would need to boil it. So this has provided a very basic filter, but you still couldn't drink this water. You would still need to boil it. So as you can see, that is just a very, very, very simple and basic water filter using just a few materials that most people have around the house. A coffee filter, and if you didn't have a coffee filter, you might use a paper towel. Charcoal, if you don't have a fish tank for charcoal filter, you might have some charcoal in the barbecue. Now, just in case the children in China can't see it very well, this is the little filter that I made, the teacher demonstration one. And as you can see, the water is much clearer. So we'll give it another shake and we'll add some more dirty water to it. All right, so when it comes out the bottom, it is much cleaner. It's not clean enough to drink. You would still need to boil it. But it is cleaner than it was.
但是呢，明显它比之前的黑水要干净很多了。
Okay, that will make the water cleaner so that you can boil it and make it so that it is drinkable. of materials that you could use in a water filter. So you need to come up with 3 to 5 different ideas of how you could make a water filter and be prepared to share them with your group. So you need 3 to 5 ideas. And the last thing you need to do is you need to think of questions about water filtering or about, making water clean that you can ask our teaching assistant, the PhD student who will be working with us. So you need to come up with some questions that you would like answered or that you need answered in terms of knowing how to make a water filter or why water filtering is important. Now, the PhD student will be with us next Friday, but it's really important that we give the PhD student a chance to look at and to reflect on and answer the questions. So the questions will be due on Monday to share with the PhD, but your ideas are due on Friday. Actually, I'll make that Tuesday. I'll make your questions due on Tuesday because the PhD will be here Friday. So you need to have your questions for the PhD by Tuesday and your ideas for water filters by Friday.
然后呢，
Okay?
我们
Fantastic. Now, we seem to have finished a little bit early today, so if the teachers in China want to go back to watch the small video that was on slide number 14, then that would be a good opportunity. But the other thing is I think at this point we will just say goodbye we'll have a chance for our groups to say goodbye and to let everyone know that we will enjoy seeing them again next week. So can we pass it around and give everyone a chance to say goodbye and good afternoon?
Okay, then a single drop of water is made of billions of water molecules. Then 100% of pure water, it's only billion of these molecules. This is pure water. This H2O. Any question? Think now, for example, in a puddle, or maybe in a glass of water, but with a fish here. This is pure water is water with a fish. Then in this case, is this pure? Could you drink it? Why? There is a fish. And then do you think, okay, maybe it's not a good idea try to drink this glass of water? If we want to clean the water, then the idea is catch the fish, remove the fish, maybe for a different glass. And after that, the water is clean again.
那我
Then
如果
think animals, not only living organism. Also, I don't know, like a rock or maybe bacteria. A lot of different things.
而且
In this, only for the fish, your hand works like a filter because you are cleaning the water, removing the fish. Then your hand is like a filter. If we want to remove all of these things, what will yes? What yes? Yes. What could you do to clean this water?
the student's
Yes.
question?
Okay.
Because we can't.
Yeah,
do
we
that.
have a problem here. We have a glass of water,
Yep.
but not 100% pure water. This water has oil, a fish, some bacteria, a worm, and a rock.
Yeah.
Then the point here is how clean this water.
Okay.
Olive oil, cooking oil. If mom spilled oil on the bench, what could she use to absorb the oil? So can we get the children in China to talk about that as well?
Yeah, I think so. 我们刚才说，
3 things mom could use.
A paper towel, a cloth, and a sponge.
So we were saying you could probably use a paper towel
Yep.
to absorb oil, or a cloth, or a sponge. Any of those would help clean up oil in a mess. And so the question is which could we use if we were trying to get oil out of the water? Which do you think would be the best way? And we can just talk about it on both sides. The best way to get the oil removed from the water. What product would absorb the oil so that the water could be pure?
We have too many problems. Maybe just using our hands, we can clean this water or remove the fish and the rock. Hands. Yeah, maybe. Yes. But what about the oil? You say for the oil, can use, I don't know, maybe a shirt. What else?
How would we kill the bacteria? How could we kill the bacteria? So do the children in China have some ideas? Are they ready to share yet? Are we connected with sound?
Their mic still not available yet. Maybe you can answer it first.
Okay.
Yep.
So we'll pass some ideas on here. So introduce, say what your name is.
Hi, my name is Subhadra, and my idea is to boil the water to kill the bacteria.
Yeah, and we use the banana
Banana.
peel to clean the water. Thank you, Chevelle.
Yep. Can you explain why?
Hi, my name is Chevelle, and the other idea was charcoal.
That's charcoal. Maybe work.
So those were a couple of ideas that we had from last week when we made the water filter
Great.
of ways that we could help get the water cleaner.
Yep. Great. Thanks.
Then here, we need more than one type or water filter, because if we use only shear, this works maybe for the oil and for the fish and the rock. But what about the bacteria and other different germs, or maybe dust? Then we need to think. For example, boil is a good idea, but only in your house, because if we have maybe a lot of water, like a swimming pool, we can't boil all that swimming pool.
Well, and the other idea was chlorine.
Yes.
They put chlorine in the pool to clean the pools.
Okay, then remember, before to construct or build any prototype, you need to understand very, very clear your problem. Our problem here is not only the oil or the bacteria or the rock. We have a lot of different things here. Then we need to think in all of them and try to solve maybe in different steps. Okay? That's good. Yeah, boil or chlorine are very, very useful to clean water. Then here we have something like a raw water, or yes, maybe tap water or mineral water. What's the difference between them?
Yep.
How is the water you get out of the tap different than water that would, say, come off the roof? We'll talk about it for a moment. Both sides. In China, talk about it for a second, and in New Zealand, talk about it. How is the water different that comes out of the tap than the water that would, say, come off the roof?
Yep.
Clean this mineral water using different things, but they work as a chlorine works. For example, we can use something like a sodium or magnesium to clean this water. They are different minerals, and they work like a chlorine. Even
Back to our problem. Now, the problem scenario you were given last week was that it had rained and rained and rained for 2 weeks straight, and that the water supply had become contaminated. Now, I want you to think about and to generate some ideas, and based on what Edison has been talking to us about, what are some things that you would expect would be contaminating the water supply if it rained nonstop for 2 weeks? What will have got into the water that you need to kill or get rid of to make the water clean? So I think that's something for both sides to discuss, for the children in China to discuss, and for the children in New Zealand to just spend a couple of minutes discussing if taking our problem scenario, it's rained for 2 weeks for nonstop, for 2 weeks, what would we expect to find contaminating the water that we need our filter to eliminate? We just digressed a bit. So I think so Edison was just telling them about the difference between raw water, tap water, and mineral water, and how you can drink the tap water and the mineral water because both contain substances that are safe for us to drink.
Okay.
And that won't hurt us in small amounts. And my question before that was, in terms of their thinking about their project, was what would we expect to find in the water if it had rained for 2 weeks? So I think we just ended up at cross purposes for a moment, okay?
Okay.
Which is mine. All right, so if our problem is that the reservoir has been contaminated, if the reservoir has been contaminated because of too much rain for 2 weeks, what could be infecting the water? What would be some of the things we would need to filter out? What do we need to? In their model, and they need to bring the materials they will need to make their filter. So they need to finish their design.
Yep.
And they need to bring materials to make the prototype for next week.
Okay. Do you want them to draw? Do you want them to draw the design on the paper?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It would be nice if they had a design, and then they need to bring the materials to make it next week.
Okay.
So next week we'll share their designs, and then we'll make.
Okay. Right. So for next week class section, we are going to make it in the class. Is that what you want to do?
Yes.
Okay. Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
They'll make their prototypes, so that will be at 50% completion.
Oh, great. Thanks.
Okay. So for the next lesson, it's the created lesson. And so they're going to feedback on their plans, and then they're going to be spending most of the lesson building their prototype.
这节课就上到这里啦，谢谢大家。那我们希望下节课还可以准时和大家见面，然后呢可以和大家通上话。好，这节课上到这里啦，拜拜。
Hello everyone.
Hello.
Hello and welcome to lesson 4. My name is Joanne Sibilich and I currently teach at a lovely school in Auckland. So today we'll give you 10 minutes to test your prototype, what you've made, and then we will encourage you to share with the group your water filter products. You to test what you have made. So final tests, and then we'll get you to share, some groups to share your prototypes with the group. So you should have completed making it now. So they can do their final test to see how well they can filter the water through their prototype. It's great to see them working as a group and working well together collaboratively. Do they have any spare materials if they need to fix up anything? So I think, and then we'll get each group to share and talk about their prototype and why they've decided to do it like that.
Comparison between them.
Yes, great. Yeah. So I'd love to see some clean water. So the cleanest water wins.
Yeah.
They can do a comparison, the before filtered and after filtered. Okay, so when they're ready, we can get them all sitting down, and then maybe the camera could move towards one group. We can watch one group share at a time. Yep.
We look at the finished group,
Four groups
and then we
first.
move on to the next one.
Yep.
Yeah, four groups first.
The 4 groups that have done testing, them first, yeah. I can't see very clearly, but it's great to see them all working on it. Brilliant.
Yeah, use more cheese cloves. Yeah, and
Thank you so
reduce
much
the
for
amount
sharing.
of the charcoal.
That's great.
非常谢谢，很棒哦。
Thank you for letting us be a part of your class today, and I really look forward to seeing the other prototypes as well.
Okay. Their homework or this one, the evaluation chart is their homework?
Yes, they can do this for their homework. Yep. So 3 different tests, the results, and how it can be improved.
So this 1, 2, 3, what's this stands for? Like this one, 1, 2, 3, this one.
I think, is this test 1,
1, 2,
test
3,
2, test
4.
3? I don't know.
So they are going to evaluate their testing product
Yes.
this as their homework. They are going to finish this form.
Yeah. They can finish that one at school.
Okay.
Test and improve, yeah.
好，这样。So do this right now in class or after class, this evaluation form.
They can do it now or they can do it for homework. They can draw the test. Maybe they could draw the testing in the box. They can draw each test.
Okay, 好的。I think that we are running out of time, so probably the next 2 groups can evaluate next class.
Yes, I think that's a good idea. Well, thank you very much for your evaluations and what improvements you could have made to your prototype. And thanks so much for sharing your class with us today. Really enjoyed working with you all.
非常谢谢今天所有每一个小组的同学的所呈现出来的作品，还有大家的这个确实非常不错，不管是你们的设计也好，还是你们采用的原材料，还是最终的测试结果都很不错啊，非常好。还有你们的对自己产品的评估也很棒。
老师说再见了。
Please keep your prototypes and we will share next week.
我们下一节课再分享哈。
OK， 拜拜。
拜拜。拜拜。Otherwise, you can just translate for me, yeah.
Okay, no problem. Them, but they can hear us.
Okay.
So we can talk to them first, introduce, yeah. We can keep going.
Great. So today we're looking at lesson 5. And we're going to finish, some groups need to finish sharing their prototypes with the rest of us. And so they're going to share peer assessment and recap, and also a reflection. Okay. So last time, 2 of the groups didn't have time to share their water filters with the rest of us. Would they like to share what they've used to make their water filter and what materials they have used with the rest of the group?
Other things as well. So
yeah, we'd love to hear your. We'd love if we could be able to hear you sharing your water filters with us.
Now, okay, we can see them. They try to prepare their water filter.
So they can test the water, the purity of the water. Yeah. So if they could tell us how did they make their water filter and what materials did they use?
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
Okay, good.
it looks a lot
Uh-huh.
cleaner. What would they do if they had to change or adjust something? What would they do to improve their water filter?
Okay.
It takes a little bit of time for it to come through.
Yeah. 老师
It looks a lot cleaner than before. Well done, that group.
好，老师说 well done 啊。
How would
你们
they
做得很好。
improve? If they had to change one thing, what would they change on their water filter to improve it?
如果
The coffee filter paper. Yeah.
yeah, coffee filter paper.
Yeah.
They would like to use more.
Great. And is there any other
Yeah,
groups
that's
that need to share? Or has everybody got time to, has everybody had the chance to share their water filter with us?
Feedback.
Would someone else like to comment on the other group's water filter, the positives, the negatives, and what they found interesting about it?
好。
Thank you very much for sharing.
Comments?
Having more clear, effective layers is better, and having the coffee filter is a positive thing.
So we can.
Someone else would like to share how effective was their water filter, the positives, the negatives, and what they found interesting. Yes. Yeah. Did they find anything else interesting about their water filters or their prototypes? Interesting, some of them have lots of layers and some only have 4 layers.
Try.
That's okay.
对，请说，谢谢。Oh.
Should we do, anyone else want to share, or should we do a reflection? A quick reflection.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So, when we do the reflection, what challenges did you have to overcome? What challenges did you have along the way? And how did you overcome them? So, what were the highlights of this whole learning journey? What were the highlights? What were the highlights? What were the challenges? What would you do next time if you had to do this activity again? So they can do an individual reflection of the whole learning journey, right from the start to the beginning, right from the beginning to the end.
Yeah.
So time is going, they can write down their thoughts, and then a few of them can share their reflection.
同学
Who would like to share their reflection with the group? So who would like to share their reflection with the group? So they'll need to use their microphone so we can hear them. What were the challenges, and what would you do if you had to do this again next time?
challenge is they the first time they didn't use the coffee filter paper, and then
sharing.
是解决问题的好方法啊。
If you had to do this, if you had to do this activity again, what would you do differently next time? So how they worked as a group, how they, what materials they used, yeah, all that sort of thing. The whole, their design.
怎么样？可以说一来。I try to point out the green.
Did they find it challenging working as a group? Next time they might need some more materials or some different materials. Yeah?
Yeah.
So clear layers inside that water filtration that they've made definitely makes a difference. Yes. So as we conclude our lesson, we've done the 8 stages of the STEM inquiry. We've loved looking at all of your water filters.
Yes.
Yeah. So those were the 8 stages of the STEM inquiry. You have all worked really well together, and you have worked collaboratively and cooperatively together. And that's wonderful to see. We love all of your water filters. And I like how you tested the water quality to see if it had made a difference.
Yes.
Thank you very much for all sharing. I really enjoyed working with you all, and have a wonderful day.
Bye, teachers.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Goodbye.